Little issue by little issue seems to have come along and kind of led to that decision or reinforced it. This, if it's not stock Apple, I don't want you using it, isn't going to work. The real NV87, the blind NV87, the NV87 who doesn't care what the screen looks like. Hi everyone, I recently announced that although my intention originally was to learn the Mac and embrace the Mac, and when Windows 10 became necessary because Windows 7 was no longer supported, by then my hope was to be so familiar with the Mac that I could just use the Mac. I had rethought that, and the situation now was that I wasn't going to be able to fully embrace the Mac. Little issue by little issue seems to have come along and kind of led to that decision or reinforced it. And now as I went to Google Chrome on Windows and searched for the sound editor that my teacher and I are going to be working on in the next couple of weeks, yes, I found the software to download, and I believe I've successfully downloaded it onto Windows. Now, installing it is a different story. I haven't learned how to install something yet. I'm probably going to have to call Ira, which is a company that uses video streaming technology and TeamViewer to, for example, come into your computer and help you install the program that you just downloaded, but you don't know how to install stuff. But before I found that piece of software, I found some text that kind of gave me a heads up about something, and I'll run that past my teacher, see what he says. It doesn't change the fact that I'm gonna work with this in Windows. In fact, it completely blew the case wide open about why the more I work with the Mac, the more I reach the unfortunate conclusion that it's not going to work for my all-around computer, which I'm sorry that that's the conclusion I came to. I really am. I like the fact that as soon as you pull a brand new Mac out of the box, it comes, well, it doesn't come talking like immediately. You do have to turn voiceover on, but hit Command F5 and you've got a voice. Whether it's your preferred voice or not, you've at least got a voice. I like the fact that in general, Apple seems to be concerned about no matter what disability a person might have, they should still be able to use their stuff. And really, I'll probably always be Apple loyal when it comes to the iPhone. I don't know that I'll ever really embrace an Android. I've got an Android around here. Ask me when the last time was I used it. I kind of got it on a whim, and now I'm going, I shouldn't have done that. But what is going on here that all of a sudden the Mac just isn't going to work? Well, here's what it comes down to. Apparently, Apple has reached the point where they really do not like you to download and run apps that are not stock Apple. If Apple didn't make it, they really don't make it easy for you to run it on their system. TeamViewer, which makes it possible for Ira to help me on my computer, every time I think I have gotten that thing to run, it starts giving me trouble. Audacity. I went to the App Store, tried to search for it, couldn't find it. Finally, I Googled it, found its website, but instead of going to Safari and looking on the Mac, I went ahead and I was like, okay, well, since I'm here, let me go ahead and download it onto Windows. Well, before I found the download area, I found this article, this blog post, this user tidbit, this whatever, that said, hey, if you've got the latest Mac operating system, which I do, you're not going to be able to use Audacity. Something about restrictions regarding third-party apps. I don't know. I can go find it if you really want me to and have my screen reader, which is the program that reads the screen out loud to me, read it to me, or read it to all of us. But I mean, I was like, you know what? That's it right there. That is the downfall of my plans to go all Mac. Which is kind of unfortunate. Will I get a new Mac? Yeah, I probably will. Because there's going to come a time when I'm just going to want a new Mac. And let's face it, my current Mac is a 2012 that probably only has like another year, give or take. I mean, there's going to come a time when there's going to be a new update, a new iOS update, or a new, not iOS, iOS is iPhone, a new Mac OS update, and I'm going to get this error message. This system is too old to handle this update. You're going to have to get a new computer or settle for this one or the other. But getting a new Mac versus getting a Windows 10 computer that I'm told Windows 7 and Windows 10 aren't that different. I'm going to get that before I'll get a new Mac because apparently if it's not stock Apple, it's not easy to use. And I'm not trying to diss on Apple. I'm just saying that Apple doesn't make everything. I mean, Apple makes a sound editor. It's called GarageBand. But it sounds pretty complicated. It sounds like, you know, how did my teacher put it? If you're going to learn a Mac and use a Mac and go all Mac, you're going to have to pretty much forget about everything you know about Windows. They're just two completely different things. And the fact that I actually tried to embrace the Mac once before and ultimately ended up falling back to Windows. I mean, what does that say about how well I work with Windows versus how well I work with Mac? I'm not against the Mac, but Windows and I just seem to like each other more. And certainly if Mac is going to look at programs and apps that I'm going to need to use in my daily life and say, I'm not going to work with that, then Mac and I aren't going to have a nice relationship. So, Apple, thank you for a wonderful phone. I will probably always be Team iPhone. I mean, never say never, and always might not mean always, I guess, but I remain loyal to the iPhone and iDevice aspect of life. But this, if it's not stock Apple, I don't want you using it, isn't going to work. Which is why, for me, 100% of the time, Mac's not going to work. Anyway, ANV87 viewers, thank you for watching. Please follow me on Twitter, or if you must, on Facebook. Check out the description below for services and petitions that I believe in. And I'll see you in the next video when you hear what I have to say.